Good morning, good evening, or good night to the lovely people watching. I was reading a page in this book that's called The Mountain Is You, and there was a section that really just stuck with me. Don't worry about doing it well, just do it. Don't worry about writing a bestseller, just write. Don't worry about making a Grammy winning hit, just make music. Don't worry about failing, just keep showing up and trying. At first, all that matters is that you do what you really want to do. From there, you can learn from your mistakes, and over time, you'll get to a place where you really want to be. And honestly, that's actually quite interesting because it is very true. Because when we want to start with something, because of social media, different sort of reasons, influenced by different people, maybe our own minds, self-sabotage and stuff like that, we have a tendency to wanting to seek perfection. The same goes for the New Year's resolution. I'm going to use that as an example. When people start a new year, they're like, yeah, new year, new me. And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna get a membership, and I'm gonna get all the equipment. It's like all in or nothing. I used to live like that too, all in or nothing. But when I started to realize that there's something in between, where, of course, starting off and just doing it is actually great advice from the book The Mountain Is You. I'm just adding something from personal experience. For example, when I started off with my hobby, collecting Pokemon cards, collecting Warhammer, collecting Lego Star Wars, going to the gym, or anything in general, 100% of the time, I've gone all out or nothing. In many cases, I have failed, where I burnt myself out, I have wasted a lot of money, I failed several times. And you might be thinking, but wait, you just read that when you fail, you learn and you grow. Yeah, that's true. When you fail, you learn, you fall, and you get up again. That's how you really learn from personal experience. But this is coming from a person that used to like, yeah, I'm going to go in all in or nothing. And when I don't see the results, that sentence, when I don't see the results that I'm looking for then and there, I give up. A lot of us have a tendency to wanting to see the results now. I'm going to tell you a story. Gather around, kids. You remember when you were younger, the rabbit and the turtle was running a race. The turtle, very slow, very steady, just walked. Slow and steady wins the race. A lot of things in life should not be rushed. Take relationships, your healing process, your financial situation, your business, your career. All these 5 things, for example, I would choose the turtle way. I would choose slow and steady wins the race. Because if I let social media get to me and I would rush everything all at once, I've tried that several times. It became too overwhelming. I was burnt out and I felt I didn't get anywhere. But I learned a great deal from doing the rabbit way or rushing things. I learned that I failed. I lost friends. I lost relationships. I have rushed into things I should have never rushed into. And back to the New Year's resolution. When you start off, okay, with the New Year, New Me type of thing, ease into it. Ease into the habits that you're wanting to build yourself into. Example of that is the compound effect. The small habits you do today, in a year or two, it will already show. It will maybe not show in a day, maybe not in a week, maybe not in a month, maybe not in 3 months, but maybe in 6 months you'll start to see the results. But the thing that you need to do is consistency, not giving up. When I wanted to go to the gym, and I realized that the gym was another thing that I added into my daily structure, daily routine. And I felt like, you know what, I want to build an aesthetic body, and I'm so obsessed. To this day, I'm still am going to the gym, building an aesthetic body, training every single day, stretching out, making sure that I have a good future. This obsession started to become so big that something else in my life had to go. And I was thinking, what key areas of my life can I sacrifice the old version of myself so the new version of myself grows? Well, at the time, it was video games. When the pandemic hit, earlier in my life when I was younger, I realized that, okay, shit, I need to quit. And I started off with the rush mindset where I just quit video games in 24 hours and I just went full on into the gym, and I just did that for a week, and then I relapsed and I started to hate myself. Did not work out. So I discovered an entrepreneur called Hamza Ahmed, an entrepreneur, and I watched, I learned, I took notes, and I have several notebooks written. And I realized myself, when he spoke about the compound effect, I implemented that into my structure, where over time, the same goes for if you're falling for lust, if you're failing in any sort of key areas of life that you feel like you're failing, the compound effect is great, where there's a habit that you have right here that is taking a lot of time out of your daily structure, but you want to start a new habit that is good for you. Gradually over time, when you increase, you see what I'm doing? Where you're shifting momentum, where you're stepping down very slowly of playing video games and starting to get gains in the gym or doing something that excels you in the life area where you want to go, and you start to see, damn, then at some point video games will become so irrelevant that you're just so focused onto the gym. And here's one thing, key aspect where I feel many entrepreneurs is missing. As a former video gamer self, as a former person that got just drowned myself in video games in order to escape from reality, if you can do you do what's best for you. Some entrepreneurs say you should go all in and 100% discipline. Recently, I started to experiment a lot of weird stuff. This is just a side note that is irrelevant to the video itself. I started to take breaks. I used to be so heavily obsessed with everything. Recently, I started to step down. I started to take a break. And honestly, it's been one of the best experiences that I've had in my life. For the past 2 weeks, I do stuff that was never really me. For example, that last night, after work, I grabbed a beer, sat down to the couch and ate a home-cooked meal. I was like, damn, feels nice. And I don't want to make it like a structured routine. Yeah, every single day I come home, I'm going to grab a beer and fall into this aspect. No, I was just moderately consuming in a healthy sort of way, that every now and then in healthy doses, you take a step back from maybe your discipline, your journey, whatever, and you enjoy the small things in life. Like yesterday, I enjoyed a beer sitting on the couch watching one of my favorite shows. 2 weeks ago, me and the boys were playing Monopoly, and we were going full on out with our lungs, just like, I'm accusing you for fucking with my property. And those small good times, like the compound effect, will add up to great memories. And the same goes for the small things you do every single day. The point was, I spoke about video games. Every now and then, if you sit down and you set in a timer for an hour, or you do have time for yourself, and you sit down there and think, you know what? It's been a long time since I played Ratchet and Clank. It's been a long time since I played Red Dead Redemption. It's been a long time since I stepped on the brakes and took time for myself. GTA 6, as an example, is just around the corner this year. Whenever that video game is launching, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna enjoy playing through the storyline and spend 20, 30, 40 hours on the video game itself, because video games have always had this special place in my heart. And honestly, quite honestly, social media has fucked up our minds. That was the whole thumbnail of this video. And all these entrepreneurs, all these people saying different sort of things to you, it clouds your judgment, because one entrepreneur can say you should do this business model, and then the next slide that you scroll on TikTok, you see another person follow this business model. Everything you see, everything you hear, and everything you do should be taken with a grain of salt. The question is, what do you believe in? And you can think there and say, I'm 25, honestly, I don't know what I want to do. Then that comes around to the next page that I want to read. That actually helped me with that sort of thing. The truth is that we actually do not accomplish great feats when we are anxious about whenever or not what we'll do indeed be something impressive and world-changing. We accomplish these sorts of things when we simply show up and allow ourselves to create something meaningful and important to us. Instead of perfection, focus on progress. Instead of having something done perfectly, focus on just getting it done. From there, you can edit, build, grow, and develop it to exactly your vision is. But if you don't get started, you'll never arrive. If you don't get started, you will never arrive. That's the whole point. If there's something you desire out of this life, you need to realize you should just start. I'll give you an example. When I just started this YouTube channel, zero expectations, zero nothing. The reason I started this YouTube channel was mainly because I wanted to challenge fear. Putting myself into the spotlight, speaking, just me plainly speaking. I've always had a fear of cameras, always been camera shy since I was younger, and always hated my physique. Now, I'm actually good at this. I found enjoyment in just speaking on YouTube itself, just sitting down, press record, and now every single day it's just become a routine, and I'm really grateful for it. But it would never happen if I didn't just take that final step, a leap of faith. The more we procrastinate on something and the more we focus on, yeah, I'm just going to do it later, that I'm going to do it later quickly catches up to you. If you're 18 watching my videos and you're still in school, that upcoming exam, this comes from a person that used to go or be in the school system. If you do not know where you want to go in life, do the very, very best you can. In school, your friends, and your family. Show up and do your very, very best. You got an upcoming exam, practice for it. Younger me, when I was young, I had 10,000 different dreams. I wanted to be a fireman, I wanted to be a police, I wanted to become a healthcare assistant, I wanted to become a psychologist. But I can't do everything all at once. I had to choose one career that I really want to sit down. And then when I got older, I realized that I'm actually thankful for my mother pushing on me when it comes to school and doing the very best that I can. I realized that when I sat down, I actually just practiced and I did my very best and started to forget what people said, like, oh, are you practicing and you're not going to hop onto the video game with us? No, I got the upcoming exam just like you. When you start to prioritize yourself and focus on what's important, for future you start to grow. And that's amazing because I'm grateful for that when I was finished high school, there were some classes I barely was able to pass. And I'm grateful that I barely passed because now I have the fundamental of the education that if I ever go back to the school bench, I have finished high school, got the basic diploma thing or whatever, and if I ever pursue education again, I have that already just done. But if your dream does not require school, if you already know that my dream job is this, it doesn't require an education, it just requires me to apply and try and work my way up in the system, then you do that. If there's one thing I really not regret, I'm glad that I learned is don't listen to every single perspective. And the same goes for your parents. Not everything that everyone tells you, even your parents, should you listen to. And then don't go on this alter ego where it's just like, oh, okay, so you're saying that I shouldn't listen to my father. Do you want to know something? The best advice I have been ever given in my life comes from my father, comes from my mother, comes from family, people that came before me and have life experience. And when I implemented those advice and I tried it, I saw the results pretty much immediately. The same goes for me. I'm not giving you advice for the sake of myself. I'm giving you advice because I hope it helps you. I just want the very best for you. The same goes for your family, and the same goes for your closest friends and allies, brotherhood, sisterhoods, that they just want the very best for you. And whenever they give you a sort of advice that, I did this mistake before you, here's key factors you should avoid, you should listen. Back to the whole social media thing. I've said it before, many influencers have said it too. It is time to stop doom scrolling. Time is limited. You got 24 hours in a day. 8 of those hours are spent sleeping. 8 hours are spent at school, work, or other sort of things. Then you got 8 hours left. Those other 8 hours are crucial. It's about 6:30 in the morning. And I got up at 5. I got 3.5 hours before I'm going to work. But you don't see me stressing about it, do you? No, because I've created a routine that works for me. Back to the point where if you're wondering what you want to do, what you want to be in life, here's an advice that I wish I got when I was younger. Get a 9-to-5 job, first of all, and start paying bills. If you live at home with your parents, when I was 18, I started to get my first job, my first paycheck. For 2 years straight, I nearly blew every single paycheck on food, wasted time. When you get a 9-to-5 job, I'd recommend start helping around house, like you start paying rent to a certain extent and start being grateful and start maturing and become an adult. But you also should live life the way you want it. The other day, I was pent up and frustrated. I was just stuck in this. Am I doing this wrong? I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I feel like my dreams won't come true. So I just stopped thinking. I just put on my shoes and I just walked in nature. And I grabbed my notebook too. When I was in nature, just idea after idea after idea after idea. From the book of The Mountain Is You. Every single idea that you ever get, before you forget it, write it down. It can be the dumbest idea in your entire life, but still write it down for the sake of yourself. If you believe strongly in some of these ideas, you should take the leap of faith and you should just do it. Because that idea can turn into a plan, and that plan can turn into something crucial, life-changing, and then suddenly you're now experienced in a field where you thought you didn't even know you could get experience in, or something that you had interest in. That's the key point. The leap of faith. This little section. Imagine the bottom of this video. That black line is your life. You're here to the point that you want to get right here. You're at point A and you want to get point B. Doing. You need to jump. You need to take the leap of faith. No matter how small the obstacle in front of you, no matter how massive the obstacle is in front of you, do it the turtle way. Slow and steady wins the race. And start thinking, start writing, start journaling. And all these influencers that have said, even successful people, meditating, journaling, reading, and eating clean and stuff like this. I hate to say it, I hate to break it to you, but it's true. Me reading The Mountain Is You, me taking notes on a daily basis, just, okay, today I'm gonna do this, and I need to get that checked off, I need to book this appointment. And when I finally just executed and just did the things, life started to become more easier and more fun. Because I did it. For me, I did it for future me. All those times we have procrastinated, upcoming exams, in general, a job application, or something else. The more you procrastinate, the longer it will take you. But here's a crucial point. There's a difference between procrastinating and actually needing a break. Imagine your body and your soul as a car. The interior is the inside you. Imagine the steering wheel as the functioning motor or your nervous system. The engine is your heart. And the steering wheel is basically your brain, your motorly functions. If you were to put the wrong type of fuel into the car, what would happen? Well, the car would stop functioning. It would become... Same goes for you. If you put the wrong types of foods into yourself for a long period of time, you'll feel lousy, you'll feel dread. There's nothing wrong taking a break or eating junk food here and there. I've done it myself. Yesterday I grabbed a beer, grabbed an ice cream, some sweets and treats too. But that was me taking basically a cheat day and just, fuck it, I want it. But today is back to the grind, back to the discipline, back to the structural sort of things. And there's a massive difference, a massive gap between wanting something, needing something, and just taking a pure break. Me enjoying that ice cream yesterday, enjoying that beer. Extra calories for the weight gain that I'm trying to chase. But every single sip of that beer, every single bite of that ice cream, I was enjoying it because I was present in the moment. Do you know how I was present in the moment of enjoying it, chewing, eating? Oh, fuck me. It's because I've been reading. It's because I've been taking notes. It's because I've been meditating. The compound effect, those small habits over time, skyrocket me. Maybe not my wallet is completely stacked full of cash. I may be not the most successful multi-millionaires yet, but I'm still working on that. And honestly, I feel like I'm one of those very few, call it influencer on the internet, that is maybe realistic and starting to think more with the noggin instead of bluntly saying out everything randomly, like I usually do. One last thing before I go. I'd like to thank you. We are at 196 subscribers, and I must say, when I was stuck at 150 subscribers, I was stuck. Here's one last advice too. I was so preoccupied with the results of, I need to get to that X amount of subscribers that I forgot to be grateful for the subscribers I've already had. When I started to just post and continue posting and stop thinking so much about it, I started to see it went from 150 to 160, 165, something 180, and then 185, and then we're 196 subscribers now. Like, there are 196 subscribers, aka 196 people around the globe, wherever you are, watching me, finding me interesting. And I do not care if I start tearing up from this, because it actually means something. Because, I mean, fuck. And you can call it not that masculine, or you can call it masculine if you want to, but it's appreciation that for a person that comes from, when I grew up, I tried to fit into everywhere. Every single friendship group, every single people. I remember the popular kids, I was just following them. I tried to fit into playing football. I was trying to fit in with the outcasts. I never really fit in. And when I started to roll with me and I started to live life the way I wanted to, I started to enjoy the feeling of loving yourself. That you, of course, you need people to grow. But in order to grow, you also need to love yourself internally. But it's still fascinating that 196 people just find me interesting. And the people that watch, whenever I post a YouTube video, and I'm just like, oh, this video got 1 view. Fuck yeah. That I'm not expecting every single video of mine to pop up and blow up. But all those videos people watch me speak, all those people that actually sit all the way through my videos, or the people that just decided, I like this guy, we subscribe to him. I love that. And you want to also know something that I really like? I also appreciate the people that despise me, that dislike me, that fucking hate me. Do you want to know why? It's because I'm myself. There will be people throughout your life that will dislike you for actually starting to be yourself, to actually how do I word it? When you start to think of yourself and you start to think, I want to do this, along the way, I lost a bunch of friends. I failed relationships, but I learned from them. And I've taken, this just goes back to the point actually that I have so many notebooks full of different sort of notes that when I made a mistake, usually the first thing that happens is maybe my emotion side flares up and just like, damn it, anger, frustration. Go for a walk in nature, come back to this writing desk right here, sit down, write, okay, excuse me, and I just write out the frustration. Okay, I'm so pissed off that, just take an example, me and my ex broke up. I feel like the reason this happened is X and Y, and I'm not trying to dig myself a hole and sit in that hole and just, yep, I'm going to enjoy this comfort zone. I just, in a healthy sort of way, I just want this out of my system, want to grow. And so I take notes. I write down every single thing. And if I believe, okay, this sentence right here, this page, okay, I'm not a fan of it. The thing I really like about notebooks is that if there's something you dislike, or you feel like, okay, this information, even though if it's just from my eyes only, I'm afraid. So I can just put it into the fireplace and that information, gone. If I'm going to bring it into example just to get a better perspective, like let's say you have a weird sort of fantasy, a weird sort of fetish you want to, I don't know, try one day. If there's something you want to experiment one day, write it down. And for the sake of yourself, just take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. Write that idea down, let your fantasy roll, read it over. If you're sitting there like, okay, what the fuck am I writing? You can burn that piece of note. You can either forget what ever happened, but at least you tried to get it out of your system. It's a practice thing that no matter what I'm facing in life, that if I'm learning a new thing or if I'm stuck somewhere or I'm just trying something new, I will always take notes on it, either if it's on my phone or it's in general just on my notebook, because I want to grow as a human being. I've realized that I'm done striving for perfection. And Jesus, this video has gone on for half an hour now. When I realized I had to stop striving for perfection, stop trying to please people, set down boundaries, and start saying no, and develop social skills to a certain extent, I started to realize that I'm much more happier with myself. There are times, of course, where I fail at all these things I practiced for so long that I remember there was one time where a person called me, and this was maybe the early stages when I was discovering self-discipline, and I wanted to try. Oh, perfect example. This person is calling me. Maybe I should say no, but then my emotions got the best of me and just said yes. And I was like, fuck. Now I got to show up. But it was a nice learning experience that with every single failure throughout your life, remember this, it's not the end of the world. But you also need to remember that even though you fail, if you fail and you learn from your previous mistakes, you'll grow. But if you fail and you continue to fail all this time and do the same mistake, you're just a dog. Here's a kind of dark side of this hope video, or social media fucks you up. Doing things in moderate consumption, having balance, is important. You can take things to the extreme, and that is everything from the good habits, from discipline and everything like that. But when you're forgetting to take balance, where if you become angry and you're angry for far too long, you forget to regulate your other emotions. If you're numb all the damn time and you forget to regulate your emotions, there becomes chaos. And when one shifts towards this, it has a massive impact. So your life, your emotions, your body, your mind, everything needs regulation. But I'm not saying you should plan, okay, today I need to regulate sadness, happiness, and anger. That's something you can't really plan. That's just something that kind of happens. For example, anger. There was a period of time in the beginning of this year, February, in March actually, where I held back on anger. Do you know what happened? Imagine in math that right here, that's sadness, right here, that's happiness, and they haven't shifted. They just stayed the same point. But anger has bottled up, and it was about to overflow. And one moment, every from being a blackout drunk, doing something criminal, or doing something in general, one moment can destroy everything you built. And I'm not saying, oh, don't be afraid, but think. If I lashed out in anger, I could have lost my job. I could have gotten beaten, for example. But I did a super crucial step. I stepped back. I just need to hold anger a little bit longer. I will let anger out after work. You could see that I was frustrated. You could see that I was boiling on the inside. I just wanted to... But I couldn't. Because, well, I need to be an adult and I need to function well. But later that day, in the middle of the night, I said, fuck it. I need to let this out. I spent 4.5 hours in the gym in the forest, not coming home before 5 a.m. in the morning. And you can say, but wait, how is that regulating in sort of way? Because my emotion, anger especially, was piling up for 3 months straight and not being released in a healthy way. I had to release it in a sort of healthy way. One of the things that you can call it cringe if you want to, but it helped me. In the middle of the night, I went to the forest and I was so angry, so frustrated that I put on some heavy metal, went into the deepest parts of the woods, let it all out. I screamed for 15 minutes straight until my throat was sore. But it was such a tension release in my entire body and my mind that I sat down and I started to cry because, well, I just regulated emotion in 15 minutes. And then I started to cry out. I sat there now. Hold on, I just need to plug it into the charger. Ah, shit. I need to go and get the charger, boys. Hold on. And then afterwards, I went to the gym, clocked in, and you could see that I cried, but there was no one there so late at night. And when I just exercise, okay, this is personal, so it's a little heavy for me, but it feels nice to let it out and hope it helps someone. And when I just went to the punching bag and I put on the punching gloves and I just let it out, I just stood there, bam, 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 bam. Of course, maybe 100% the wrong technique, but I just needed to get the frustration out of my system in a healthy way. One of my morals is that I do not wish to harm another human being. When it comes to fist fights and everything, I find it useless because, well, shit, it's just harming another human either emotionally or psychologically or, quite honestly, physically. It's just, no. But if it comes down to I have to defend myself or defend my values or people, I don't mind. Then okay, fine. Then I need to be a man. I need to step up. But no, if there's one thing I feel my generation, the old generation, or every single generation is missing, is that emotional regulation in a way that works for you. Not destructiveness, not sitting at 3 a.m. in the morning and playing a Call of Duty session and calling that emotional regulation. No, something that is actually working for you, where you're not destructive for anyone, you're not disturbing anyone. Maybe I disturbed the local wildlife by accident when I was screaming at the top of my lungs, but that's pretty much it. I didn't wake up anyone, I didn't scare anyone, but I just needed to release this. A way that I did this is that I booked something called Rage Room, and it's an investment that is actually pretty nice. I wouldn't say do it every single month, but if it's a way for you to spend $50 every single month to release pent up frustration or tension, go for it. Rage Room is also a great experience for anyone, where either if you're a pacifist or in general someone else, you pay a fee, get instructions about safety, and then you go in to that specific room, and then, okay, cool, here's a hammer, and just, okay, I'm going to smash that object. And then you're like, okay, I'm smashing this object, and then as you continue, like when you start something and you get consistency, you continue. But when the timer stops and bam, you hear the alarm, that's your cue, the signal that, oh, well, I just spent 20 minutes breaking things. It was really satisfying. When I did that the first time, I got so consumed that again. But then reality hit that, oh, okay, I did this because I was curious. I needed emotional regulation. And I just needed a little step back from everything, step back from reality. And the same goes for happiness. Happiness can be grateful, be great that I'm chasing dopamine and happiness that, yeah, I'm on fire. I just got PR after PR. But also, happiness can be destructive, where I remember that personal experience. I remember when happiness, I let that control me. When you let one of your emotions control you, you lose control. When you lose control, certain things can happen. There's nothing wrong with letting yourself loose every now and then and regulating to a certain extent. But when you let one of your emotions take completely control of you, when you lose control of the situation, when you lose control of yourself, destructive things happen. I remember there was actually a friendship that I used to have back in the day. It was a friend of mine that she was amazing, good qualities, wife material, to be fairly honest with you. It was a couple of years back. But I scared her off. I was actually hanging out with her, and I was so happy, let happiness control me, I scared her shitless by accident. I failed the friendship, but after that, it became so overwhelming for her because she was the type of person that experienced so much trauma throughout her life that when she finally let someone in and she trusted someone, if I broke that trust, it would never be the same. And I overwhelmed her by accident with happiness and bombarded her with, you're such an amazing person. Yeah, but it was just a self-reflection of me just shining outwards. And I scared her off. She's hopefully out there somewhere, just living the best version of her life. And honestly, good for her. Every single person watching me and living their own life and is happy and consistent and doing the things in life that is good for them. Good. I'm glad to a part of a certain extent that I failed. I failed the friendship because I let emotions get the best of me. When I failed that friendship, and it took me a while, it took maybe 3 months before I realized that one of my emotions scared someone off. I remember also, frankly, when my mother's told me that you need to regulate in a healthy way. At the moment, it didn't really mean anything, but as I got older, I started to realize more and more. And a lot of these stories that I tell you, a lot of these things, you'll never see. 99.99% of the time, or maybe 100%, most of you, unfortunately, and hopefully, will not see it in action. Because I'm glad these are like personal failures, personal stories that I've told, and things that I have done myself. A lot of your victories, a lot of your failures, it will happen alone or with someone that you trust. But the world, social media, will only see a fraction. Last time I posted on TikTok, then reel number 3 or something, I posted that I did hip thrust on the Smith machine, 220 kilos. Those 30 seconds you saw me do that hip thrust exercise was the peak of the moment itself. But you didn't see behind the camera that was a friend of mine filming. You didn't see the moments where I struggled. You didn't see the entire picture of the story leading up from the age of 17 to my age right now. You didn't see it behind the camera. You didn't see the journey. I did. I spent so many years, so many hours, so many days, so much money on achieving that specific goal. And whatever sort of you, I realize that this video is going maybe on a little rant, but honestly, I don't mind at this point. When I realized that, holy hell, your personal victories, your personal goals throughout life, no matter how small or how big they are, hold on to them. Hold on to the memories from your ex. Not like obsessing over them, but I remember I have a few exes throughout my life. And there are certain memories that whenever my mind just, here you go, I appreciate them. Because it holds value. Oh, shit, I'm about to tear up again. Maybe I'm an emotional human being, but that's fine. One, and I can be honest, growing up, I have many memories, many good memories too, of shit. I remember when my grandmother taught me to tie my shoes. And fuck, it might not mean any significantly to a child that your grandma is trying to teach you how to tie your shoes. But imagine everything you do on a daily basis. Everything from writing, everything from reading, to see, to have clothes on your back, to food in the fridge. Who fucking taught you that stuff? Tying your shoes. Fuck, my grandmother taught me that. And I fucking love that. Because every single day I use shoes. But I'm so grateful that my grandmother taught me this. Because every single day I implement it automatically. It just goes on autopilot. I know how to tie a simple knot or a double knot. Thanks to my grandmother. I'm grateful for that. My sister taught me how to have a fucking backbone. I remember when she taught me how to. I'm grateful for every single human being ever in my life. Some of them that are not there anymore. Not that they're dead, but that they're not in my life anymore, my social circle. But I'm grateful for every single lesson I've learned. And I'm also grateful for every personal failure. Because it's made me grow to the human being I am right now. There's one thing I felt happiness and emotions just rushing, so I just needed to take a personal breather. Gratitude. It was supposed to be a completely separate video, but I feel like there's not enough love and gratitude. Gratitude and happiness can be connected. I had, throughout recently, the past months, there's a few days where I've had really shitty fucking days. Do you know how it switched the moment? Is when I started to be grateful to the smallest fucking depth. Let's do the exercise together. I'm grateful that my heart is functioning to a level that is normal and healthy. I'm grateful for being able to see. I'm grateful for being able to hear. I'm grateful for even to be able to speak and listen. I'm grateful for moving. I'm grateful for having electricity. I'm grateful for having a job, even though there are days that I dislike it. I'm grateful for being able to read. I'm grateful for having a bed to sleep in. I'm grateful for having a roof above my head. I'm grateful for having parents. I'm grateful for having good friends. I'm grateful for having the capacity to learn new things. I'm grateful for fuck it, every single thing in your daily life can be grateful for. And I feel like there's when you appreciate things, it holds value. I appreciate the night quiz stories that I have behind me. But I may get emotional again. I was about to be a little bit angry, but at the same time, but a mixture of feelings. The reason you need to have a hobby is this: personal growth. Hobby is not just about having something to do. It's something that is meaningful towards you. Me collecting Lego Star Wars and expanding my collection, I don't care if I spend $50 on a set. The depth to is that I worked X amount of hours. I then, after taxes, got my paycheck. If there's a specific set I've been looking forward to since I was young, I have a set called I showed it a few times before. Last thing I'll show you. Hold on. The ARC 170 from the Star Wars universe is basically a starfighter. Honestly, my favorite Lego set of all time. I remember when my mother, the full story is that I remember it was an episode of Star Wars I was watching, and I remember when I just saw the ARC 170 for the first time, I just fell in love with it, especially the flight scene when it just, and I was just like, damn. I remember when my mother bought that set. I think it was the 2010 or 2012 set. I don't remember specifically. And at some point when I got older, especially in my youth, I got rid of all my Lego. And when I got older, I was just like, fuck. My mother spent so many hours earning money and then bought those specific Lego sets for me. But out of greed or, I don't know, just not appreciating what I have, I got rid of it. And when I realized that the ARC 170 had gotten so expensive, I was soul crushed that I ain't got 10,000 or I ain't got $1,000 just laying around to spend on a single Lego set. But when Lego released this ARC 170, I think last year or something like that, I must have this. For the core memory's sake, for younger version of me, for something. I remember I covered maybe 6 extra shifts during that specific month to have a little extra money to spend on myself. The first thing I did when I received my paycheck that morning, I stood outside I stood outside the toy store for 2 fucking hours just, yep, I'm gonna fucking wait. And when immediately they opened the fucking door, I was just like, yoink! I rushed through and ran to the Lego section, and when I nearly fell because I was running full of enjoyment and just, boom, I'm gonna have this set. And honestly, I didn't really care about people's opinions, that the people working there just like, okay, someone has a fascination of Lego, but it just holds so much value for me because it's a key memory for me. It's part of my childhood. It's part of, not my identity, but I really appreciate it. And honestly, I'm starting to see that this video has gone on for far too long and I've slid off the main point. But I'm grateful that this video nearly has become an hour long. I'm going to post this unfiltered, unedited. And if you sit through all the way towards the end, I fucking appreciate it. It is you versus you. Fuck everyone else. Seek guidance when you need it. Take care.